Good morning and a warm welcome to Mandate Studio on the network service of Radio Nigeria. Nigerians yesterday went to the polls to elect new governors and members of state houses of assembly. Our correspondents brought you minute-by-minute reports on the election as it took place across all 28 states that took part in the election. This morning, we'll continue with reports on the collation of results and hopefully announcement of winners. My name is Noura Muhammad. To examine and analyze events of today, with me in the studio are Mukhtar Modibo, Head of Data Collation and Situation Room, Connected Development, Code, and Ave Aki. She is a disability rights and inclusive advocate. You're both welcome to Mandate Studio.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Let's set the ball rolling. Reports secured from the exercise yesterday were many and diverse. But one thing that cuts across the country was the early arrival of staff and materials at polling units. A far cry from the case on February 25th. What's your take on this?
Alright, so first of all, right, I'm just an optimistic person that always believe that there are positive events, there are pockets of negative events that happens during the election. Like you said, we've recorded almost 93.3% of opening of polls on time. That is between 8 to 9 o'clock. So compared to the 25th February presidential and national assembly election, there is massive improvement. I'll give you an example. So I did a round. After my field observers, we tried to, get the feeling of what the field observers are doing. So on Friday, we traveled across Nasarawa, Niger, and part of Kogi. I know in Kogi we were in Adavi, Okehi, Okemi, Lokoja, and Kutu country. So understanding that the opening of polls was something that people are concerned about because some people actually steal over time, and we got report from Kano pre-election, like on Friday in the night, already people are already at 12, people are already queuing and stuff. So that is a plus to the election, electoral umpire for opening of polls. And then another positive event that we recorded was the turnover time of the beavers. It's always one of the questionnaires we put out to the observers on field is to study whether or not what's the accurate time of one accredited voter, and we got the turnover time at as low as 6 seconds. Right now, what are the events that happen that are negative events? So pockets of them have always been the violence, right? So why did I say pockets of them? You will go to a state, in an entire state, you will just see maybe there are 8 polling units. I give example, 8 polling units, and in 2 of the polling units, there are violence, right? So you cannot sit and just discredit the 8, right? Just having 2 that have issues. So I will say, there's a plus to that, but if you come back to the issue of security and what have you, people keep saying security is everybody's business. I understand what people are saying, but the thing is we have to also understand that some people are being paid to do that job, and some people were given uniforms to protect people. So we recorded a lot of issues that has to do with just before our midday report, we tried to put out a report on showing a politician in Bauchi State with 2 armed policemen, right, standing in front of a polling unit and having to count and share money right, for voters, and then the police is the person involved in saying, oh, come, pass, and stuff like that. So my own take on all these issues is, can we begin to see people being held accountable? Can we begin to study people that want to temper their legitimacy, that want to look into their credibility, right? That as citizens or as government, let's begin to hold these people accountable. Let's arrest be made, let's prosecution be made, right? So that when you're providing service and you choose to do some things otherwise, then you will have to, put in yourself in a place where your power is not there. So these are things in general. We recorded some voter inducement, as well as one of our observers in Ibonyi. Her name is Lucy. She was attacked and what have you, and then our observer, one of them in Lagos. So those pockets of violence were something that were recorded, but in a general terms, I think we have to just say kudos to INEC at some point, because starting from when we were started in Oshun to Ekiti, from Ekiti to Oshun to the presidential and national assembly election to where we are today. The only thing I would say is we only need to call for calmness and wait for the people that are showing the responsibility to announce result, to actually announce the result, and try as much as possible as young people. Maybe I'm a young person, one of the first place we always go to get information is social media. Let's try and look at what we do get from the social media, so that we don't form part of the people that put out fake news or misinformation.
From the arrival of materials at polling units to the accreditation and the actual voting and collation going on at the moment, what would you tell us?
I think yesterday outing was much positive than what happened on the 25th of February. Like, I was surprised to see that around 8 a.m. materials were already in so many polling units, and by 8:39, some people were already accredited. So I was like, what happened? Like, so this could actually happen, and why didn't it happen on the 25th of February? But all the same, it's a step towards the right direction. INEC really works over what's trying to right the wrong in the aspect of getting the materials early at polling units. But back in Benue State, there was a kind of a mix-up in some of the polling units, because some of the materials were mixed up. Like the Kwandi case and I think Kasnala, there was no election yesterday because there was a mix-up in the election materials, and youths were angry actually. Why would that kind of a mistake be done in the first place? But overall...
Was it corrected thereafter?
Yes, but there's no election. There are going to be election there by tomorrow.
Okay.
Because the youth were angry and there was kind of chaos. So, and there was not enough time going back to sort it out, because the Kondi ballot papers were taken to somewhere else before they could know that, okay, this is here, and getting it across each other. Already the time was gone, and the anger in the youths, they could not really calm them down on time. And also, the election in that axis has been shifted to tomorrow.
All right, yesterday's election was said to have been characterized by voters. Not many people came out to vote. Some youths were found playing football, and they said they wouldn't want to vote. What exactly do you think could have been responsible for the low turnout of voters?
All right, so first of all, right, like I told you, I always don't want to condemn voter apathy. I don't want to be part of it. I was in Nassau, I was in Kefi, just very close here. I've seen a polling unit where there are 12 people, and the next polling unit across has almost 7 to 8 voting points. They have over 8,000, and it's close to being a market. Right? People have gone out to vote. But I just want us to also understand that
that has been an exceptional case.
All right. And then I'll give you, I always speak of what I see, right? I don't speak of what I heard. Now, I tell you what, you need to understand the dynamics of our politics. 46% of our economy is being managed by the president, right? And then our economy is being run by largely the presidents and what have you. So presidential election, it's not a thing. The presidential election always tend to have that peak of other things. And then something happens during the presidential election, the 25th February National Assembly and presidential election. I was in the situation here in Charlton working to see how things can be done. As of 6:15, 7:15, 8:15, that's when we do our checks, right? There were no presidential results being uploaded on the IRF, right? That is a thing that each and every one of us believe that INEC will do, right? Upload results straight as we got them. As of 6:15 yesterday, we've had almost 38 to 40% of results being uploaded on the IRF from the polling unit, right? So something happened that made people to just push their trust. So in election is not war, right? One, the first thing in election has to do with trust. And the second thing is has to do with perception and comprehension. What do people comprehend, right? What do people perceive before coming out to do this thing? So a lot of young people felt, because of that small thing that happened, I can't call it small, there's a deliberate effort to make it not to work. Because it didn't work, a lot of people lost interest in that particular thing.
What do you mean by deliberate efforts not to make it work?
Okay, deliberate effort in the sense that if I tell you I have watched this thing closely, I've watched this thing closely. INEC gave us a total number of 7,000 accredited observers, and I have 83 people in the situation room. All we were doing, we have 15 people looking at just the IRF, right? All we were doing was just looking at the processes of election, nothing more, nothing less. We were not looking at results. We don't care. I don't even know who contested election in my state because I'm here in Abuja. So the thing is deliberate effort in the sense that yesterday, as of 5, right? As of 5:15 to 6:15, I told you there is 38 to 40% upload on the IRF. Then what is the difference, right? The last election, there wasn't anything like that happening. On the 20th, or by 10, on that 25th, by 10:25, exactly 10:25, that's when uploads started coming in, right? So what happened from 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, like 8, 9, 10. As of 10:25, that's when the upload started happening. And then till today, I tell you, if I don't tell you my name, you'll just be there, Baba or Guy or something. That's how we've been conversing, right? But immediately I tell you my name, all you could do is to pick it up from there, right? So nothing, no explanation, extensive explanation was done for us. So whatever you choose to take is what you will take and run with, right? And that's why I choose to take the deliberate efforts. There's a deliberate thing that was done.
Have you cared to find out from them? You have their contact, don't you?
All right. So, there's a difference between observation and monitoring. My own is to observe, right? Then the government part, the INEC, the police, the EFCC, the ICBC, and what have you, all they do is to monitor, because when they see something, they can correct it there and then. When I see something, I will just see and observe. I don't have any point of view. So all I did was to put up a report, put up a press conference, address the press in informing them that this is not working. I know Situation Room has done that. I know Younger Africa have done that. There are a lot of organizations that have done that. All we are waiting for is a possible explanation of what really happened. We've shifted election countlessly. You can count the amount.
But an explanation was given during the presidential and national assembly elections. They said they had a problem, with the network.
Where's the problem? This is 21st century. come on, Noah. It's 21st century. When I'm coming here, when I was told I'm supposed to do this and this, I was on NTA. You know, I slept at 3, right? But I had to put my thoughts together to say, okay, this is the angle I'm speaking at. If I have any issue with my laptop, I have my phone. If I have issue with my phone, I have my pad, which is in the back. So
I had an expert in ICT say that if they had used a better platform, spending like about ₦1 trillion, they would have got it right.
fantastic. I will not speak for that because I am not an expert. The only thing I can take is the fact that it did not work, but it's working now.
All right, let me come to you, Avi. Not much has been heard about how people living with disabilities are faring in the elections. What have you observed?
Persons with disabilities. Yeah, actually, like he mentioned earlier, the deliberate act not to make it work. Like before now, persons with
I know
disabilities.
if INEC was here, it wouldn't agree with you that it was the good.
Yeah, we're going to. I'm going to defend my statement actually. Before the 25th election, February, a lot of persons with disabilities had their voters card, and they were not captured in INEC register. So before the election, there was what was done continuous voters card registration, which a lot of persons with disabilities also went out to get registered and collected their voters card. At this point, INEC had a register where persons with disabilities were indicating that yes, I'm a person with disability. And INEC published their reports that in the continuous INEC published their reports that about 75 or 85,000 persons with disabilities have registered for voters card. Meanwhile, before now, a lot of persons with disabilities have had their voters card, and this was not captured. So the report INEC published, instead of INEC will specify that in the continuous voters card from now to now, this is the number of persons. We are over 30 million persons with disabilities in Nigeria. And what INEC publishes is about 85 or 75,000. So out of over 30 million, we are saying just 85. INEC did not break it down to say that it is from when they open the continuous voters card. So this is to say that a lot of persons with disabilities are being said that they didn't come out, they didn't have voters card. And you can't contest that because why? What INEC brought out is final. Okay, about persons with disabilities, how they are faring. In the 25th February election, a lot of them came out to vote. And like you know, late arrival of materials, most polling units were not accessible to persons with disabilities. We have different classes of disabilities, like for the persons with albinism. You don't expect them to stay in the sun. And a lot came out early to vote, and materials were not there. And you know, polling units are always, if not in the primary school buildings, just open spaces. And those people can't stay there till afternoon. How about persons on wheelchair? They were out there. You see some polling units having a gutter in front of them. How do you expect a person on wheelchair to roll across the gutter and go and vote?
INEC has consistently said they have provided adequate facilities for those living with disabilities to cast the ballots.
That is what we also believed, and that was why we all went out in mass to vote. And on reaching there was nothing. How about those with visual impairment? INEC told us there were braille materials, braille ballot voting and all. On getting there was nothing. Magnifying glasses. There was supposed to be a form for persons with disabilities. When you get there after voting, you fill the form. And that form is supposed to help INEC to know that, okay, so number of persons with disabilities are in this polling unit, to plan ahead.
Well, reports from our correspondents, especially remember during the presidential and national assembly elections, indicated that there were polling units where those facilities were provided for those with disabilities.
And were they in use? Because a lot of persons, I was at the presidential election, I was at Westminster Situation Room, and they covered there were observers in all the 36 states, and the reports that were coming in, even some persons with disability.
Nosa Ayetwamen from Lagos is on the line.
The INEC officials, the corpers that were used, and when they asked them, they said they don't know that.
I will come back to you.
A person with disability even asked for the form, and one person told him that the form is meant for deaf people. So we were asking now that, wait, are they different forms for different persons with disabilities?
All right. We have Nosa Ayetwamen on the line to tell us what the situation is. Nosa, good morning. Hello, Nosa, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Well, I know you usually report from Lagos. Are you there up until now?
Yes, I'm in Lagos.
What can you tell us?
Well, Lagos is calm. Yesterday, I covered the Ifako Ijayi local government area, precisely constituency 2, and the election went peacefully. But in the morning, there was a problem. The INEC ad hoc staff refused to participate in the exercise. Why? Because they said they were yet to be paid their feeding allowance. And that led to delay in the movement of the INEC materials to the various polling units. But however, the staff may appeal to that before the election is concluded, they will receive their alert in their various, on their various phones. And they decided to embark on the exercise, go to their various polling units and conduct the election. Because of the late arrival of the materials, the voting, accreditation, and counting actually, was beyond the stipulated time for the exercise. But after that, after the counting and everything, they returned back to the collation center, and that was where another problem came up. This time it was still on the feeding allowance. They didn't receive any alert from the SPO. So as a result of that, they refused to submit the BVAS machine and the election result. For over 3 hours, the ad hoc staff were protesting. They said they were not happy about the development. But during the presidential election, the same thing happened. Their colleagues in other places received 10,000 naira. But they decided to embark on the exercise, and when they came back, what was given them was not what was agreed on. Some were paid 5,000, some were paid 6,000, some were paid 7,500. So to avoid the repeat of what happened during the presidential election, they insisted that they must be paid the approved 10,000 naira for their feeding allowance. The Ojokoro DPO Police Division actually came around to appeal to these people to please submit the BVAS machine and the election result. But they refused. They stayed there, like I said, for over 3 hours. They were being appealed to please submit the machine. But later on, they agreed, they submitted, but they decided to form a WhatsApp platform where all the names of the agreed ad hoc staff were included, and they were promised that they will be paid either today or tomorrow. The SPO actually gave his number, and it was included in that WhatsApp platform, that he can be reached at any particular time. That the money was paid, he received the alert, but the money was hanging. He actually disbursed some amount of money, but he did not get to the respective staff of the INEC who participated in that election yesterday.
All right. So generally, what can you tell us with regard to the election in Lagos?
Well, in some places, they had some problems, but in others, in Lagos generally, in majority of the areas, the election was peaceful, it was seamless, apart from areas where you have pockets of violence and attacks from voters and people who came for the elections. I cannot really mention areas where this problem happened, but we know, according to the report that was given by some of our colleagues yesterday, that there were pockets of violence in some places.
Has collation of results started?
Well, collation of results, I think, is ongoing. Currently, our colleague is at the INEC headquarters, who is actually monitoring that. Collation is still ongoing. Results have not been declared yet.
All right, so we hope to hear from our colleague who is at the INEC headquarters to tell us what the situation is with regard to collation of results. For the moment, we may have to leave you. Thank you for talking to us, Musa.
Thank you very much.
All right, our correspondent in Lagos, Musa Aitwani. Well, if we come back to you to round off your thoughts on the issue of those with disabilities, as far as the election is concerned, Ave, what can you tell us?
Okay, so like I was saying, most of what INEC said we're going to do, actually INEC didn't do, but in the 25th election, late arrival, but subsequently when accreditation started, most polling units gave priority accreditation queuing to persons with disabilities. And they also voted, but the issue of network too affected. So like the yesterday election, to be honest, a lot of people were discouraged, like from what happened earlier. And but still they came out to vote.
How do you compare the participation of those living with disabilities in the 25th the presidential and national assembly elections and that of yesterday?
In the 25th February election, the participation was more over 100%, and because people came out in high spirits. Everybody wanted to cast their votes. They came out because of the campaigns that a lot of CSO did and the engagement with an INEC and INEC promising everything was going to be in order in place for persons with disabilities. Everybody was eager. Persons with disabilities were eager to come out and actually see that, okay, INEC say this and this is in place. So compared between February to yesterday, the February turnout was much more than what happened yesterday.
But have you channeled your grievances to the relevant authorities?
A lot of press conferences in the it was kind of, we took like 10 steps forward to helping our people to be confident in the election processes and on election days. And what happened in the 25th February election is like taking 50 steps backward, because after now, in the next 4 years, it will take a lot of work to tell our persons with disabilities that you have to come out and vote.
Okay, on our own part, we'll try to establish contact with the Independent National Electoral Commission to find out why those with disabilities were not catered for, in the manner you really had wanted, because we have reports of those with disabilities voting in some parts of the country. Well, if we'll come back to you now, Mukhtar. There were security issues reported during the course of the exercise yesterday. What were the reports received by your situation room?
Okay, so first of all, right, I was in the US election, and it happens that we were together with some of the INEC officials. And the last year Kenyan election, we traveled on the same plane with the INEC chairman and some commissioners, and it was something that happened that we stayed together in the same place, and then we were always discussing. So I just want us to all know, and listeners to know, that there is no far-fetched election. Real perfect election, we are going there, but There is no really perfect election. So, coming back to your own question, if I look at what happens in Kenya, right? Almost virtually everything that we're doing in our electoral process, that's what Kenya does. They have BVAS, but they call it KIM card. They have that IREF. It's a Swahili name they gave it. And then they do almost everything. It's just like purely this is Kenya and this is Nigeria. They have logos and pictures on their ballot paper. They have independent candidacy. They have diaspora voting and what have you. That's just the things that we don't have. So issues of security, yes, I keep saying, and I'll keep continue to reiterate that we have pocket of it. We've had issues in Ebonyi. We've had issues in Kano. We've had issues in Lagos. We've had issues in Rivers. We've had issues in Gombe, right? Bauchi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and what have you. And then Borno with the sad thing that happened of a market cutting on fire or something. So all these security issues, one of the first things we do when we get security issues before we publish it on the Usabe platform is we try as much as possible to make it go or undergo a lot of verification first. So that's why to get a security report published takes a whole lot of time, because we want to really actually pull out an information that it's not there. So those pockets of security issues that we've got, particularly in Lagos, we've always got that point of, I was beaten out of my polling unit. We have a colleague that was, he has a Yoruba name, he's Yoruba by tribe, sorry to mention the tribal rules, but he was called another tribe to all get out and stuff. We have that kind of report, and in part of Kogi State would have had issues of people wanting to snatch the ballot paper or destroy the papers. And then we've had another issues of security where some ballot papers were burned down in still Lagos, all right? And then we've had an issue of 17 of INEC ad hoc staff were abducted in Imo State, which led to the cancellation of election to happen today, right? These are the kind of issues we have. But I always, whenever I get this kind of opportunity, I always try to put things out there. There are a lot of, in the situation room, we have like a place where we just take time to have people look into the pictures and videos that we receive so that they try to analyze it. They understand that properly. I got there and I saw them analyzing a video that I saw in Mombasa, Kenya, during an election. And someone sent that particular video. Right? He's not part of our observers because we have observers and then we are taking opinions as well from Twitter. So when we take that opinion, what we try to do is not to put it out there, but to try to analyze it and see how we can escalate it. Now, we have that sort of partnership with security operatives where if we see something going south, because what we do is we do real-time incident reporting, so we try to escalate it to the security operatives so that they can take this. So these are kind of pockets of violence that we've received. But we are still monitoring. Violence like this, there is pre-election violence, right? During election violence, and then post-election, which is one of the things that all of us are afraid of, right? Let's have that one house where there is a channel of how you can communicate your grievances or what have you. But we've received an issue of, I know we've received an issue of 2 people being shot, right? We're still reviewing, verifying before we put it out there, right? But the information has got to us from our field observers, and one of the things we try to adopt this election, having to have 20,000 people sending information and 7,000 accredited. One of the things we did on our contingency plan was to say, guys, no movement. Please observe election from your own polling unit.
Reports from different parts of the country seem to be suggesting that the level of insecurity in the election of yesterday seems to be much higher.
Yes.
Than the election of the 25th
Yes.
February.
One of the recommendation we gave INEC is that we know Nigeria's population is massive. But can we be having one election? One election in the sense that all the ballot paper, 5 of them, goes on one election, so we can be able to control it. I understand that there are a lot of issues. I cannot sit here and tell you what were the causes of those violence, because before election, pre-election, we saw the presidential candidate and almost all the governorship candidates in across the country sign peace accords, right? And during the last peace accord, the chairman of the Peace Accord Committee or something, General Abdul Salam, mentioned categorically that they have found a lot of issues with spokespersons, right? How spokespersons have been engaging politically, from banter to insult and what have you. So things like this contribute, right? So violence is, for the first time in our history, we're having what is called thought force in our democracy. So that thought force comes with a lot of things. So having a dynamical change in the political system, and Beavers has done nothing but good to our electoral process. So it's sort of come in with a lot of other things. And then what were the scarcity before election? Issues of naira scarcity, fuel scarcity. If you have car, you don't get fuel. If you have money in your account, you don't have a naira. You don't have cash, right? So what those things have done is they sort of, in one way or the other, I don't want to use the word legal, but they just sort of legitimize something. Because I tell you, I watch vote buying in Adavi and Okene local government of Kogi State, where you come and vote and someone will just raise up his hand like this. So the people that will give you the money, I asked a woman, she cannot really speak English. She just keeps saying the 2 words I hold is Adai and wow. I had to ask someone, a boy asked her, she said, she now just opened the money to show me. Guess how much is it? It was 700 naira. Bruh, 700 naira. In central area, you cannot get a plate of rice. I don't know if you understand. So these are the kind of things that happen. So why insecurity? There are some people, there are categories of these people that bring that issues of violence. There are categories of people that just want to feel among, dogs that want to feel among. There are people that nobody can sit here. I can't sit here and tell you a politician sent some people, or I'll tell you this particular talks attack this thing. So all the reports we get, if you check our platform, we get reports that says this polling unit were attacked by unknown people.
All right, I'll come back to you, sir. The state of insecurity report suggests that the election of yesterday had a higher rate of insecurity than that of the 25th of February. In your opinion, what contributed to that?
Going from the 25th situation room, what we did was one of the areas we're covering was participation of persons with disabilities, women participation, and also the level of security. So most of the calls and the calls we call out to our observers were like, how is the security there? Like, how many security personnel are on ground? And you get to hear that, okay, there is one civil defense person here and the police. The other person, Sokoto, you call some polling units, there's just one civil defense person here. So we were like, where is everybody? Where is our security personnel? Then coming back to fast forwarding back to yesterday, there were security personnel everywhere. So the question is, where were they February 25th? Like in Benue State, um, a lot of deployment was done there, a lot of it. And there was a killing that happened in Boko South yesterday. Somebody snatched a ballot box, and from nowhere, the army caught him, gunned him down. So then you begin to ask in the February election, what happened? Why, where were our security personnel? Why were we not seeing them at the polling unit to like protect any or stop any chaos, ballot papers and boxes snatching and all? And again, before now, when I was like growing up and election proceedings, I I thought that phones were not allowed at polling units. But these elections, February election, yesterday elections, you could see people using phones. You could see people voting and snapping what they vote to snap to show to the public. So we're meant to understand that, just like he said about voting, raising up your hand. We're meant to understand because of the cash, lack of cash flow, we're meant to understand that you have to have evidence of the party you voted so that afterwards you collect what was meant for you. I think a senator or so from East even voted and snapped. And funny enough, he even voted wrongly. That his thumbprinting was on the line. So you can see that ANEC have a lot of work to do. CSOs, we all have a lot of work to do. Voters' education is very, very important. You see people voting from top to bottom. That is invalid vote. And a lot of voting across the line and all. Up to this 21st century, people are still doing that. To tell you that a lot of voters' education needs to be done. And just like he said, president, my the governor from Benin State did that. How are we going like way before now, before the 2023 election, we never knew what somebody voted. And that was why we have all those QVK where people go to vote and you put. But I can tell you who voted this, who voted this.
Still talking insecurity, what do you tell those with disabilities with regard to protecting themselves? They're usually vulnerable, especially in chaotic situations.
And because of the lack of insecurity, it also affected the yesterday voting. A lot of persons with disability. Like I'm a person with disability, I'm an amputee. And if I'm not sure of my security at the polling unit, I won't go there because by the time there's chaos and people are running, who will remember to carry me?
So
I use a prosthetic limb and I won't run faster the way somebody without disability will run. And I will not go out to a polling unit where I'll go and add disability to my already disabled body. So our persons with disability, that's one of the factors that keep us back home, not to go and vote. It's a factor that affects us a lot. Because if, like what happened, like I said in the 25th, there were little or no security personnel at polling units. And this yesterday election, a lot of persons with disability stayed back because they didn't know what to expect. They were afraid for themselves.
All right, so we have a caller on the line. Our correspondent Stanley Herod is calling from Jos. Stanley, good morning. Yeah, what can you tell us? What's the situation in Jos? Give us an insight into how the election went yesterday. So, how are the people conducting themselves at the moment? What's the atmosphere like? What are they saying? You mentioned voter apathy. Have you had time to interact with those who refuse to participate in the exercise, to hear from them what exactly made them not to vote? All right, before I let you go, Stanley, how soon do you think we should expect the announcement of winners at various levels? All right, Stanley, thank you for talking to us. We look forward to hearing from you as events unfold. Well, thank you. Our correspondent in Jos, Stanley Helen, on the situation on the ground there. I would like to inform you that you can follow us on all our social media handles: Facebook, Radio Nigeria Network; YouTube, Radio Nigeria Network; Telegram, Twitter at Radio Nigeria HQ; Instagram at Radio Nigeria _ Nigeria HQ; LinkedIn, Radio Nigeria Network; WhatsApp, 0808 804 8115, and follow the conversation on hashtag Radio Nigeria. We can't wait to hear from you. All right, so coming back to our guests in the studio, Mukhtar and Ave. Mukhtar, you heard our conversation with our correspondent in Jos.
Yeah, I mean it's a good thing that that's what he tried to explain to us, that he was with the resident commissioner and they went around to sort of look at what's going on. It's like in Lagos, the collation has been shifted for 11 a.m. today, this morning. And in some part of the GBV or something, there's an issue with voting across one particular polling unit that is supposed to be the people around there. The report we got is the people around there felt that the polling unit is inside the estate, while the officials are saying they are going to stay outside the estate. But we all know that if you check the Electoral Act, it says polling units should be neutral. they should be not in any mosques or any church or any religious place or anybody's house or something. So I'm sure if they are able to settle that issue, election will hold as being prescribed to hold today. What's happening in Jos? I'm sure we have a lot of people in Jos that reported issues of pockets of vote buying and vote selling and pockets of a bit of small unrest in some few polling units. But I think concludedly, we have to say, I mean, the just people are always politically matured, or on understanding what they always want. I always believe in a politics of ideology, where people know what they want and they go all out for that particular thing. And election, like I always say, election is not war. Nobody needs to come and be pushing you to do this or do what you don't want. Is a normal thing for you to have what you want to do and try to go all out for it. What will keep advocating or will keep calling people is the fact that we want people to understand that there is a huge amount of resources that is put out there. INEC receives the allocation in billions to conduct elections. So people should know that whatever you're destroying, for the few people among us that are destroying the ballot papers or disrupting the entire process, they should know that it's taxpayers' money. You're part of the people that have paid the tax. So it will cost you nothing to just look at what is happening and allow the will of people.
All right, we have our correspondent on the line, Sadiq Darwa from Kasana. Sadiq, good morning. All right, what can you tell us with regard to the election in Kasana? Yes, what can you tell us with regard to the election in Kasana? All right, how are the people conducting themselves at the moment? What are you hearing from them? What are they saying with regard to the polls? Hello, Mukhtar, can you hear me? All right, a little bit of network problem there. If I may ask, uh, talking about voter apathy, it was said to have characterized the election of yesterday. How was the situation in Kazan? Okay, what happened? Right, an unfortunate story there from prisoner. What can you tell us with regard to how soon the collation of results uh, will be completed so that winners of the elections will be announced? Okay, we hope you'll keep us posted. Thank you very much for talking to us, Sadiq Garba from Kazan. Right, that was our correspondent, Sadiq Garba from Kazan. Now, Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria, is located in the north central zone. It was conceived in 1976 by the then military head of state, retired Major General Murtala Muhammad. It was not established until 1991 by General Ibrahim Babangida. How has a city performed as a center of excellence and unity since its establishment as federal capital territory? Well, in this report, correspondent Ifeanyi Osita sought answers from the public.
We still have a lot to do. I don't.
Okay, they could have Wi-Fi.
No, but not.
So now, sorry.
Because the internet is open.
There's no internet here actually. There's no network. Even as we're using, there's no Wi-Fi. We're using LAN. It's because of where the studio is. Let Musha come. I'll tell him to get. We're supposed to give you. We forgot.
That's fine. It's tired. We came back to this to
They are used to do it.
Yeah.
Please tell them. Anyone who calls, they should tell them.
No, we'll have somebody to please to give it to you.
Yes, we will look for everybody. This one that I don't have internet for.
This is your casting vote snapping, Mr. Mali. Bishop, voting and snapping what you
No, you cannot do anything now. So I tell you, let me give you an instance. My mom asked me to send her money. And when I did send her money, she said she cannot cash it. So I now told her that I know, don't worry. Even the old money you have in the house, you can use it. She said, are you alright? I'm like, why? You can use it. She said, no. The president said, can use it.
Our conversations are going on. So everything you're saying is true.
There's a mute. There's a mute.
Well, many thanks, Ifeanyi Osita, for that report. You're still listening to Monday Studio, coming to you on the largest radio network in Africa, Radio Nigeria. And we have in the studio Mokhtar Medina, head of data collection and situation with Connected Development Code, and Ave Aki. There is a disability rights and inclusive
We appreciate you having time to still be with us in the studio, gentlemen. Okay. All right. prior to having that report, we were talking about the issue of vote buying. It's a very, very serious matter. This is being perpetrated with, if you like, reckless abandon. You see people buying votes, you're using different forms of inducement and so on and so forth. Why do you think this has refused to go in our politics, Mukhtar?
It did not refuse to go. It's a normal thing for you to... Okay, let me give you an instance. Myself and you were doing the same thing the same way. And you expect something different. It's not possible. I don't think you can do something the same way, and the same you that is doing it want to see something different. How do you mean? So how I mean is our politics, the politicking we don't do politics based on ideology. People have gone past that level of, insulting each other, making all sort of banters and what have you, just to for people to vote for them. People are going forward for doing manifestos, putting out manifestos and dashing out contents for people to understand their own ideologies and make people vote for them. We will still have that issues of that. So what is happening is, to some extent, some people have sort of weaponized poverty. That imagine a society where someone is looking for food and then decided to share spaghetti and stuff like that. So that's you weaponizing the whole process. But I am not a fan of always saying, okay, this is happening. We all know that the whole thing happening, but how do we correct it? How we can correct it is a normal way for us to begin to look at who are the people we govern, for us to allow government to be government of the people, by the people, with the people. We share that power. Power is dynamic. Power is in some classes. There is power with, power over, power within. We should allow people to understand that they have power to elect, they have power to recall, they have power to say, okay, we are not electing you anymore, right? These are things. Now, if you move past that level, you now move to the level of having people to understand that politics is not a game of come and cash outs. Politics is a game of service, right? Now, if you move past that level, the people that were caught or arrested doing those particular things, they are meant to be prosecuted, jailed. They should face the consequences. Now, the baby one that is trying to come up and do that particular thing will know that, someone that did something like this was arrested and jailed. If you look at what happened in Kano during the 25th presidential and national assembly election, the Nigeria's majority leader of the House of Reps were arrested, right? He was arrested because he had a case to answer. He was in court. At some point, he was sent on a release on bail. That is to tell you that nobody is above the law, right? When she talked about a senator putting out what he voted for, the president did that as well. Can we see the law acting upon these people, right? Because the amount of things that a lot of people, can you tell someone in Leko Koma, or can you tell someone in Bagega of Gaurana Moda, or tell someone in Obodogwa in Delta, or tell someone in Silami in Sokoto, not to believe not to believe the president, to take another person and believe no, right? So if I come to say what the president did is wrong, my mom said, "Who are you?" This is my own mom, right? So imagine people like my mom that will say, but who are you? President has done it. Who are you to say is wrong? I don't know if you understand. On cashless policy, I had a lengthy conversation with my mom saying, the president already said that this money is not legal tender, right? And then the Supreme Court overturned that. And when I was telling my mom, no, she said, lie. Do you want me to take someone that I don't know and leave the president, my president. I don't know if you understand the logic. So if we begin to see these people, right, being seeing what's going on, like whenever they put something out there, they now get the penalty or they now receive the consequences of what they have done. We see perpetrators being prosecuted for electoral fraud and what have you, then they will do this thing.
Well, and the EFCC yesterday arrested over 60 people in connection.
Okay, so
Isn't that a welcome development?
it's a
Jalaluddin from Kano. Jalaluddin from Kano.
Where is the brand?
Jalaluddin from Kano. Jalaluddin.
arrest has been done, right? Let's see what happens next. So if that thing that happened is severe, then people will understand this thing. As low as giving food in the polling unit is completely wrong. But people do it. If you check the Electoral Act of 2022, it's clearly spelled out. You know, it did not use don't bring food in the
It's an act of inducement.
Yes.
All right, we have a caller on the line. Abdullahi Jalaluddin is our correspondent, and he'll tell us what the situation is in Kano. Abdullahi, good morning.
Oh, I like this.
Hello, Abdullahi Jalaluddin, can you hear me? All right, I think Abdullahi doesn't seem to be there. I wish we would have him talk to us with regard to the situation in Kano. Kano is another hot place. The contest is pretty hot. Yeah. We hope to hear what exactly is happening from the arrival of materials at different polling units to the election proper, and of course collation of results, if at all it's going on at the moment. All right, we hope to hear from Jalaluddin. We have lost that call.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
All right, Jalaluddin, you're still there. Good morning.
Good morning.
Kano is from Jalaluddin, a son of the soil. I know the situation very well. Tell us what's happening now.
Well, we thank God for all that happened today and what is going to happen today. Yesterday and what is going to happen today. The election has been conducted successfully, even though there are a lot of issues in different parts of Kano State. One person was shot dead yesterday at the local government for the vehicle, trying to snatch a ballot box. He was shot by the security agencies and he has been confirmed dead. Many ballot boxes were destroyed in many parts of Kano. Thank God now the security on top of the situation. And now the election process has been concluded. Now the coalition is allowed to begin in the IMX Center of Kano. Since after the closure of voting yesterday, the coalition began at polling units to local government secretariats. Then now the results will now be transported to INEC headquarters in Kano. By 11 a.m., the coalition will start at INEC.
All right, Abdullahi Jalaluddin, the election was said to have been characterized by voter apathy in different parts of the country. Was the situation different in Kano yesterday?
Well, it was very different because people in Kano came out in mass, especially the women and the youth.
Are you there? Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, Jalaluddin.
I said in Kano the situation is a little bit different because people came out en masse to exhibit or exercise their constitutional responsibility, especially women. The youth were all out to cast their votes. The only issue is the issue that occurred. Box snatching, ballot box snatching, and then in some areas, some political talks try to disrupt the election totally in some areas. But kudos to the security agency because they tried their possible best. In all those areas that these political talks wanted to bring chaos, the security personnel are always up to ensure that they overcome those security political talks and then the voting exercise continues. So we really commend the efforts of the security agency in Kano. And then even yesterday, the commissioner said, the commissioner of police said today they will conduct a first show up. They will move around the city with all their forces to show people that they are ready. Whoever is trying to bring any chaos, they are ready to deal with it, whoever that person is. So I think by around 10 this morning, they will start the show up all over the metropolitan. So people know that they are ready and they are there for everything.
In the outset of this interview, you talked about a man who was said to have been shot by security agents yesterday. Could you tell us more about that?
Yes, the man is at one polling unit in Ghetto. Ghetto is under the local government area. When the election process was going on, he tried to snatch the ballot box and run away with it. And in the process, the security agencies shot at him, and he fell down. Some few minutes, he was confirmed dead. And this is a very big problem, which is against the constitution of Nigeria, for someone to come and snatch a ballot box when the election process is undergoing. And then the police have confirmed him dead, and I think investigation is ongoing.
You talked about other instances where there was breach of security. Have any arrests been made with regard to that?
Yeah, of course. There was one place I was even an eyewitness because I was at the polling unit when the incident occurred. That is at Kerenchi Ward in Kano Municipal, where some thugs came with knife and cutlasses and very dangerous weapons and trying to break the ballot box. But it was to our advantage because even the journalists and some of the people who are trying to find their votes, we are not safe at that time because we are trying to get at anyone who is close by. But the security agencies were there, they were out. They apprehended those guys and went with them to their station. And I think even those guys that were apprehended, investigation is still ongoing.
But before I let you go, how about the issue of vote buying, Jalaluddin?
Wow, that is another issue, terribly bad, because money is not now in circulation as it was before. So these people are now trying to use some foodstuff like spaghetti and other items to give it to voters to buy their votes. But we thank God, EFCC, ICPC, and other security agencies are on ground in disguise. They are within the people and trying to see what is going on. I think many people were being apprehended yesterday in many parts of the Kano. They are trying to vote buying. And then with the information going around, it helps some who have the intention to do that because these security experts were everywhere. So I think the only thing I can say is we commended the effort of security agencies generally because they tried their best.
All right, so
with disabilities.
Jalaluddin, how about those living with disabilities? How were they able to cast their ballots yesterday?
I think people with disabilities, especially with the blind, there are a lot of issues concerning the blind. But those crippled and other disabilities, they are able to have that. But for the blind, someone has to carry them along to go and show them the particular party they wanted to vote for. And if that one is not trustworthy, it can make them to choose the party that is not their choice. So I think to me that is the only issue I monitored, the people with the blind. I think there is supposed to be a provision that they know this is the party they wanted to vote for so that they can do it with their own choice without relying on someone to decide for them.
All right, thank you very much, Abdullah Jalaluddin. We look forward to hearing from you, especially by the time the collation of results begins and subsequent announcement of winners of the elections at different levels. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
All right, that was our correspondent Abdullahi Jalaluddin. We appreciate you having time to talk to us this morning with regard to the election in Kano. Kano is one of the hotspots.
Yeah, it's a hot spot, but I always want to always be the positive guy, man. Because if you look at the reality of contest pre-election release, I know Connected Development as well as other civil society organizations sort of release hotspots. We call it hotspot because we wanted to people to understand based on history as well as occurrences between these couple of years of election. It has always been something that people anticipated this thing, and why we did that was just so that we get to inform the security involved to really take some sort of dynamics and then some sort of idea to see how they can curtail what's really going on in the state. Largely, I will say, in the percentage of the positive events coming out from Kano to the percentage of negative events, you can always take the positive event. I give you an instance. I have had a conversation with a friend that we went to school together, not even in the country. This friend was telling me in their house, they are 8, right? Him and his brother voted a particular party. Their mom and their dad voted a particular party. His sisters voted a particular party. So in the house alone, there is a diverse,
different political parties.
So that shows political maturity in that particular aspect. In as much as I don't have any issue with the result of election, right? My own issue is what were the processes that brought in the result. Now, if you look at what happened in Kano, we got a report. One of our pre-election assessment was people already queuing up at polling unit as of 10 p.m. in part of Kundufu, Kano Municipal, Nambata, Bagwai, and some other districts. These are names. Why do you think I hold these names? I'm not from Kano, but it gives me another thing. Look at how people are understanding the process. They just want to do the process and go. And immediately after that, we got another report with a video having people of the metropolitan, that's the Kano Municipal, escort their own votes to the collation center. If you look at the massive, thank you. That just gives me hope, right? Because, while doing this, I always try to tell myself that let's always look at the positive events that are coming from this. Now, these are people that went to cast their vote, right? And then hone in to escort the vote, right? In as much as, if they do it, they don't do it, it will still go. But they just believe that if they did not do that, something will happen. We've got a lot of reports coming in from people shouting, they don't want any inconclusive again. And that's why they are trying to do this. If there is anywhere that the point of voter education happen, I think this election has seen a lot of massive improvement in voter education, and we have to do more and more and more to get people to understand the whole thing. But I tell you what, it's not just about education. You're not dealing with fully illiterate people. You're dealing with fully mischievous people. Right? Someone will want to just do something just to get content. Right? I was coming out from the office, driving out, and then someone stopped me and said, I have a camera, I want to do a question. And the next thing that person said, it's a truth or dare or something. I'm like, okay, you think I don't have something to do with it? I have to just move. So there are people that do things. They're mischievous. They just do things just for this thing. Nobody will tell you because they say from top to bottom, from bottom to top. You now vote from bottom to top. That is just people doing it, and you know the funniest thing, I think one of the things INEC should do is to try and classify or try and bring out the amount or the budget that costs INEC to produce one ballot paper, just so people to understand in infographics that I can say my organization can do that, to put out an infographics to say if you waste one ballot paper.
Victory Isoni from Port Harcourt.
Call the name again.
Victory Isoni from Port Harcourt.
Still repeat it.
When coming into town, what she does is she uses public transport or something, and at the market she pay levy. Then that means you're paying tax. It's taxpayers' money. So this whole thing is of destroying ballot paper and what have you. Sometimes it's just
from yes, or what?
Yeah. It's just having I don't want to say dubious character, but it's having a thing that in 21st century we should not be even.
You know, it must have been done deliberately just to
just get content. You know, it's a world of content.
Okay, we have to take our correspondence, Victory Isoni from Port Harcourt. Victory.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Victory. What's happening in Port Harcourt?
Okay, as at yesterday, the resident electoral commissioner of INEC in Rivers State monitored the main city, which is Port Harcourt City local government and not the Abuja local government. After his monitoring, he said the election was relatively close in the area. But I think later in the day, they had some information from other areas, and then it led to the suspension of election in Akpari local government area, and then Dogo was 14. So, and after later in the evening yesterday, we held a meeting, and then later in the night, the election was scheduled for this morning. In those two areas. They have also, they not said anything about also Kana local government where they were also issued. And then, but the President Electoral Commissioner has not said anything about that area. But for now, election is holding in After local government area and Dodoma was 14 in those two places. Then also this morning by 10, collation is expected to begin by 10 this morning at the INEC headquarters here in Rivers State.
There were reports of violence in some parts of Rivers State. What more can you tell us with regard to that?
Yes, as I said before, I think another local government, one of the local governments was Kana, where we had a lot of issues, we saw videos, we saw people, and our colleagues, other journalists that were there, said their experiences, what they had to pass through, and then at a point they had to be rescued by security agents and then from other political parties. And then, but I think now there's a relative peace there because from what we gather that security agents have taken over and then there is calm. And then we are still waiting for INEC in Rivers State to tell us if the election in Kana is going to be rescheduled. I think that was one of the Kana is one of the major areas where that the issue of violence came up. So after Iforo and Dodoma, where the elections were rescheduled for this morning, it was mainly the voters asking that they wanted to see the collation officers first at the polling units before they vote, and then which they stop officials from doing anything and then bringing in material. So that was the major thing, and collation officers do not have business with the polling unit. But they insisted they wanted to see the collation officers after Iforo. Then at Dodoma, they insisted that they wanted to see the collation the sheet before they will vote.
Okay, so what can you tell us about the voter turnout?
Okay, yes, there was voter apathy generally. Generally, the voter apathy, people didn't really turn out. At a point, I think somewhere around even Budara, in River State, somewhere around Budara, the INEC officials have to be calling on residents, begging them to come out and vote, asking them to come out and vote. That compared to the last, the presidential election, which people really came out and they voted late night. But this one was different. We had some places where just by 12, they said they were done and they were leaving and going to the rack center. So the turnout was quite low.
You may have had cause to interact with those who did have interest in voting. What did they tell you was the reason they didn't want to vote?
Most of them, their reasons were that they just felt their votes were not going to count. That from their experience in the presidential election, that they just feel their votes were not going to count. So whatever wants to be done should be done, and they don't have business to that. That was their major reasons for not coming on.
Victory, vote buying was said to have characterized the election in different parts of the country. Was Rivers State different?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The issue of vote buying, there were reports of vote buying in different parts of the country. What can you tell us about Rivers?
Okay, on that, I really can't say anything. We hear rumors of people being giving money, but I don't think I've really seen anyone, and then I've not had any personal contact with anybody who says yes, I have received money. I think on that basis, I think yesterday I tried to speak to few people because I tried to speak to people to ask, is it true that they said there is money, they were sharing money here or they were doing this, and then the ones I got were like, no, I didn't see any. So my colleagues, other journalists that were at other people, they said, I didn't see any.
What about voter intimidation, Victory?
Sorry?
Voter intimidation, where a number of thugs would want you to vote for a particular party, or else you leave the polling station.
Yes, except for one of the areas where I heard that, I think somewhere around the Duna Valley, that they said the people there said, ask people not to come out if you know we are not going to vote for a particular political party, shouldn't bother coming to the polling unit. Outside that area, I think other areas, people came out, people were out to vote.
All right, Victory, thank you very much for talking to us. We hope to hear from you subsequently. I was Victory, correspondent in Port Harcourt on the situation on the ground. Coming back to my guests in the studio, isn't it funny where someone says, if you're not going to vote for my political party, don't bother coming to the phone station?
It happens a lot, and even in the presidential election, it happened a lot. A lot of our reporters from the field were, we captured that online, where we're talking to some of our reporters called in, and they could even turn their cameras where you get to hear what people are saying.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, next you take the report, the report given to you earlier.
Enough for this, please better leave here before it becomes so hot for you. And also it's something that it's happened presidential and even yesterday, and you begin to ask yourself, is this the way forward? Is this something we should be expecting the next 4 years for the next election too? And when things like this happen, it discourages people a lot, just like what she was saying, that the turn-up was slow. It's everywhere, even back in Benue State, the turn-up was so low because of what happened in the 25th election. So we begin to now ask ourselves that, what is the way forward? Are we now going to go back and start advocating and start educating people again why they should come out in the next 4 years to vote again, because when you put in a lot of work, effort, you can see that in February, early in the morning, people were out queuing on the queue waiting to vote. But when the whole election results and all turn up to discredit the efforts people put in, it's kind of a discouragement, because a lot of people left what they were doing. A lot of people left their daily struggle to go get it right. People were ready to do it, get it right, and it turned out not to be what people expected.
Voter intimidation seems to be the order of the day. It's pretty absurd telling people that if you're not going to vote for a particular party, you shouldn't even mind coming to the polling station.
You know, the sad reality is, to some point, one of the few persons that started this conversation in Lagos, right, had to come out and apologize to people that he don't mean that. But when we had the spokesperson of the police, do you know what he said? He said the person is joking. So the reality is, I still tell you, you see, all these things cannot happen because no consequences, no arrest has been made.
But how can the arrests be made and the prosecution done to ensure that it serves as a deterrent to would-be offenders?
That is the thing, because see,
how can the narrative change?
The only way this narrative can be changed is the people that are known for doing this, right? Be arrested. I mean, there are human beings moving around. The few people that are disrupting the ballot papers in few words and what have you. There are human beings. They are moving around in an election period, and we know that, of which I'm not an advocate of stopping movement because of election. But the point is, we all know that we stop movement. Then why are vehicles moving? The people that are scheduled with the responsibility of guarding that place, when they see vehicles moving, then they should be cautioned. If they cannot arrest the people, then they should be arrested. In each and every polling unit, right, there are armed men by law, there are armed men around, and then there are unarmed men close to where the voting is happening, right? Police and other paramilitary and other security operatives knows the name and numbers of the people they assign to each and every polling unit. If something happens, those people should be called and questioned. The entire system is based on check and balances, right? Something happened. What were your efforts? What did you do? What actually happened, right? If they cannot give you reason, bring them to book and investigate. That's what I'm saying. So it's not that the people that are moving around tell me of all the reports we got of destruction of election, they came with either motor vehicles or a bike, right? Where are they going? Being monitored like that. If you said you don't know them, there are people you put to mount checkpoints, right? Ask the people in the checkpoint, how many people pass? When they pass, what are they carrying? They should tell you, because that's why they are there. If you cannot do that, the people that are securing the polling unit, when these people came, who are they? What did you do? What effort did you make? You know, that's what we're saying.
We have a story to take now, but before we take that story, our correspondent in Kano told us about a man who was shot dead by security agents for ballot box snatching. Is that the kind of punishment that should be meted out to anyone who snatches a ballot box?
This is a difficult question, but I tell you what, if you disrupt process, you are disrupting the entire will of people. Right? The entire people in that community. If anything happens, anything extra, INEC may say, well, we've cancelled the election. Just look at what happened in the coalition center. Here, just close here. You know, INEC chairman in each and every state that comes to you asks, is there any cancellation? They'll say, yes, we have cancelled 1,000. These are votes of the people. I am actually not a fan of killing them, but at some extent, if you try to
extradition,
there are killings by the state and then the non-state. The president already said it categorically that if you want to meet your ancestors, try to tamper with it. Then why go tamper with it? I am always a fan of arresting them, knowing why they did that, who sent them, so that person will also be arrested. But if it happens, it's a collateral damage.
All right, thank you, Mukhtar. This is Monday Studio coming to you on the largest radio network in Africa, Radio Nigeria. We still have our guests in the studio. We'll be taking a report now. Thereafter, we'll talk more about the elections, collation of results, and we'll be taking reports from our correspondents across the country. Now, let's take this report of the governorship elections in the country as compiled by Temimu Salu.
Nigeria as a nation has had many historic political moments. One of such moments was when the country returned to democratic rule in May 29, 1999. The Fourth Republic ushered in 36 governors that emerged from three major political parties: People's Democratic Party (PDP) with 21 governors, All People's Party (APP) had 9 governors, and Alliance for Democracy (AD) produced 6 governors. The Fourth Republic elections witnessed the conduct of the governorship election before the presidential election. This continued till 2011. In 2011, there was a departure from the usual conduct of governorship election before presidential in line with the 2010 Electoral Act. This had the National Assembly election come before the presidential, followed by the governorship election. The sequence of conducting presidential and National Assembly elections before governorship election is still the practice. Upturn of victory and nullification of election by the court due to non-compliance with the Electoral Act has disrupted the timeline for governorship elections in 8 states of the Federation, consequently leading to off-cycle governorship elections in Edo, Kogi, Anambra, Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, Bayelsa, and Imo states. Speaking on the trend of the governorship election and how it has shaped the nation's electoral system, a public affairs analyst and lecturer with the University of Abuja, Professor Ashum Musa Mesamari, explained that the governorship election remains significant in the governance structure as it avails development at the state level, being a federative unit.
The change has always been occasioned by arguments by people, those who feel that the performance at the state level most often influence the behavior of the electors at the national level. And so if the party gets more states, the likelihood of having a bandwagon effect on the electors' behavior will be national. And so it was reversed that no, let's get the national, which is the most important, so to say, in court first, so that people who are elected there are elected based on their merit and not based on a bandwagon effect.
The Vice Chancellor, Federal University of Science and Technology, Otukpo, Benue State, Professor Innocent Uja, said the introduction of technology in the nation's electoral system over the years has changed the narratives about governorship election in Nigeria.
There's no doubt that there has been some improvement because of issue of registration. You have to register, you have to be validated, you have to confirm that your name is in the register, and then the technology that has brought it to be. Largely, one would say that there has been some gradual improvement, but the human component of it probably may not have changed drastically because no matter what you put into technology, the operation can be different. By and large, the awareness of Nigerians is clearly far more than what it used to be. People are aware, people know the value of voting, and that the vote should count.
On the turnout of the electorate during elections, Professor Mesamari emphasized that the citizens are more committed to come out and vote during the governorship election than any election.
The turnout will be higher than the presidential because the local man is more concerned about what he is going to expect, what he wants from the state rather than the federal. The federal is an elitist election. People who are interested in being ministers, being board members, executive this, executive that are interested. But everybody wants to see the governor digging a borehole, providing electricity, and all of those things that touch the life of the common man in the village.
As the nation's democracy matured, politicians began to test the rules guiding the process and conduct of elections in the country in the courts. This gave rise to off-cycle elections. The Director General, Center for Credible Leadership and Citizens Awareness, Dr. Gabriel Wambu, while stressing that off-cycle elections were occasioned by litigation elections across the federation.
This has come up in the Nigerian space because of litigations during elections. You will find out that by the time the cases must have been dispensed of, it has eroded into the stipulated time for which the constitutional provision for time for which tenure is supposed to last. If I have my way, I would look for means to regularize the off-season elections so that it will be put in the general election.
As Nigerians today troop out to vote for their governors and members, houses of assembly, states like Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa will have their governorship elections in November this year, followed by Edo and Ondo states in 2024, Anambra State in 2025, Ekiti and Osun State will close the cycle in 2026. In Abuja, Tenimu Saliu, Radio Nigeria.
Many thanks, Tenimu Salihu. Yes, the election was held yesterday, even though there are some being held at the moment because of postponement. This is Mandate Studio, coming to you on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We still have in the studio Mukhtar Modibo, his head of data collation and situation room, connected development code, and Ave Aki. She's a disability rights and inclusive advocate. Thank you for still being with us in the Mandate Studio, Mukhtar and Ave.
Thank you for having us.
All right, election materials were reported destroyed, Ave, put ablaze in one instance. What does this say about the desperate character of some politicians? What does it say about the nature of security in those areas?
Desperation, politics comes with desperation, especially when either a sitting governor or a Senate that wants to return back to office, and the people say, no, we have a law and we have had enough of you and we don't want to. That is when there's a lot of desperation. And that happens a lot in this I won't say concluded because the election has not been concluded election. Like for instance, in one of the states, one of the states, Benue State to be precise, you could see a lot of desperation that happened. The people have made a choice that they don't want anything that is already on seat. They want neutral. They want everything to be new, and you could see the desperation in the city.
I think the incumbents might not agree with you. The election has been held and results have been awaited. Let's leave that matter for the moment. But talk about desperation on the general note.
Okay, on the general note, election comes with desperation. That one, it's something you can't take it away, and. On the issue of destroying election materials, I feel the few that go out to do that, they are not doing us good, because that won't change anything. Like he was analyzing the money used in printing just one ballot paper, and it's huge. And also I feel that if you don't allow the process of election to go through, if you destroy the process, and eventually people are voted in and still they are not your choice and they are not doing what they're supposed to do, you as a citizen, you don't have a say to talk, because first of all, you destroyed the process. You didn't go out to vote and you didn't allow people to vote. So if you are to air your grievances, who are you airing your grievances to, and who do you want to act on your grievances? So for me, destroying that is not doing us good, and it should be something that the few who do that should sit back and ask questions about themselves. I think it would be better for you not to even go out at all than to say that, okay, me, I am going out on this day, but to go destroy the ballot papers. That won't change anything. Yeah, elections have come, they have destroyed in some areas, but in some areas elections are going on, and the election result will be collated and it will be announced. So where do you now come in? Your acts, where did it now affect what is supposed to be?
All right, Mukhtar, there is a school of thought that thinks the desperation that is pretty evident in the politics of this country is as a result of the goodies that usually come with political office. Do you share the same thought?
I don't. I mean, over the years, aside during election, what I do is call follow the money. We track government spendings in basic education, basic health, water and sanitation in not just Nigeria, in 10 African countries, right? So it's not about the goodies. It's about a lot of times these people are looking at power. You know, I gave you the dimension of power. Power with, power over, and power within. Power within, power with is no longer in existence. What is in existence is power over. Someone might go into politics just to have his silent glory. If they come and pass Nura, you must tag and let him pass. I went to see a commissioner once, and when he came in, he asked us, we were doing a project, we have to do the project with him, and he was like, you're from civil society organization? I said, yes. And he said, all of you are supposed to be wearing one shirt now, we'll pick up, if I come, you stand and greet me. And I said, well,
that's not part of the goodies about this.
So goodies, when you call goodies, it will be like the money part. But some people are looking at it from influence. And in that conversation, how we ended, I had to ask him, when we became friendly, I said, sir, please, how much is an average salary of a commissioner? When he said, he don't earn up to what I earn. And I'm like, sir, you see me. And when we had to travel, anywhere he see me now, we brought him to Abuja, we had some engagement with him, the hotel, the wherever he said, hey, don't play with these people, they're small but mightier, and stuff like that. So why am I bringing this scenario? The thing is, sometimes it comes with the influence, sometimes it comes with a lot of people that come into this power might not have known what they are coming in for. You get, because we're not doing that politics of manifesto. It's now that we begin to do debates and what have you. So the thing is, I don't want to, for the few people that are coming in to spoil the entire thing. There is corruption. There is corruption all around, right? And there is lack of check and balances all around. There is lack of holding people accountable. There is lack of transparency and accountability in the entire system. How do we make the system work? Is when we shy away from the politics of religion, the politics of sentiment, and then begin to look at people for antecedent, their capacity, their capability, right? I think the best thing we can do is to forget about people think is the goodies, to tell people that, God, if you come, you will come and serve. And if people understand that there is what is called power within and power over, right? And then they are the ones that have it. I bet you this will go a long way in helping. If you look at, I talked about the third force earlier. If you look at the dynamics of things that are happening in the political system now, you will be surprised. Look at the last result that was announced by INEC, the presidential election. APC losing Lagos, right, to another political party. Lagos has always been that coming towards one way from what's the name of that other party, AC, right, to the APC. Now a Labour Party got this, that's for the presidential election. Please, mind you, I said presidential election, that's the 25th of that. You've got a lot of new people in Yobe. A dynamic of still happen where PDP in the presidential election, that's the one of the 25th, the PDP winning the district. It has always been ANPP to APC and what have you. So the dynamics is people are beginning to understand that they have powers within, they share power between the people that they send in. Come on, these guys are being sent to represent us. Now, all of us cannot be leaders, and that's why we have you controlling this particular show, right? So I think the best thing we need to be talking about is for people to understand that structure of power, that power is within us. Like you have your own powers, I have my own power. You can easily, let me give an example. Now in this studio, you can easily say, oh, Mukhtar, thank you for coming, and I want to excuse you. And all I could do is to, back up. But easily you can ask me a question, I would choose to say, no, I'm not answering this question. And it stands because that's me, So if we have that power, you don't have power over me, I don't have power over you. The only thing is you have the opportunity to be here as the presenter. If you come to my situation, I'm the boss, right? I give the orders. For here, you give the orders. You get the logic. So we shared that whole thing. I think that's the conversation.
Can this desperation be curbed?
Yeah, so the desperation is the fact that there's poverty. There's the poverty of the mindset, the poverty of the brain, and what have you. We just have to fight it as people. We have to introduce the politics of ideology, right? We don't have ideology as people in this country. We have the ideology that the politician gives us, and that ideology is religion. The other ideology is sentiment. You are only voting because this one is this person, this one is this person. I give you an instance. I know the gender advocates will fight me. There is a particular state in the country that the popular political party put out a governorship candidate to be a woman. I had a lengthy conversation with a lady. She said, all I want to do is, yes, Adamawa State, I want to wake up and see that woman being the governor. And I asked her, have you read our manifesto? She said, no, she's a woman. Come on. Because she's a woman, we should understand her manifesto first, right? We should understand what she is bringing to the table, right? So people are forgetting the fact that because of the forces that are coming in, some people will just forget, oh, okay, let's have this. Nora, I bet you, where I voted for presidential election, the person I voted for, I was the only person that voted for him in my polling unit. And when they counted it, I was going on, I came back and they said, so political party has this, and I had to ask, please, what were the result of this particular political party? And they said one. I was proud because I resonate with what he was. And when they were mentioning they were doing all these things, I just said, in my situation, people are laughing and look at your candidate. Because that is what I resonate with.
So you didn't mind wasting your vote in?
That is not a waste. Because all of us cannot win. One person must win. That is just you standing for the ideology you believe in. If I believe in you today, right, all I could do, I give you the last thing I will say.
But there are people that think, if by estimation you think it's impossible, no, there is no possibility of winning the election. Don't you think that it's too wasted? That's what people think.
While growing up in school, they will always call everybody and ask, what do you want to be in future? I know of a time that all the girls, the 16 girls in my class, said they want to be like Fatima Abbas Hassan. Some of them decided to say, I want to be like Mujima Konjola. They are all NTA newscasters because they are the first we see. Then all I wanted, because they are saying Mujima Konjola and Fatima Abbas Hassan, I've always looked towards Cyril Stoba and stuff like that. It's an idea. And then I know of one boy in my class. You see the way we divided Cyril, Fatima Abbas Hassan, he has always called Kylian Omahe as his man. I don't know if you understand. Today, my friend is in the UK, right? I am here. I've appeared on Cyril Stoba countless times. Whenever I see him, I just want to hold him. He is just a popular face that we grew up with. So politics is a game of you selling your own candidate. That's why I always tell you, when people ask me who is my candidate, I'll say this is my candidate. But I am not asking you to vote for him. I have read his manifesto, analyzed his health manifesto, his education manifesto, his water and sanitation manifesto, and his economic drive, his foreign policy, and what have you. And I felt this is the person. I don't mind being the only person that vote for him. If he contests next time and I see his manifesto is not something I can resonate with, do you know what I'll do? I'll move on. I tell you what, the last person...
Well, there are contestants who know it's not possible for them to win the election. They don't go ahead and contest.
No, they don't. I will not agree with that. Anybody that contests this, yes, because if the process is a process, it's a process of it. Do you
agree that anybody who contests an election in this country knows they are going to win or is contesting with a view to winning?
I don't agree with that.
He contests with
Let's hear.
I don't agree with that. Everybody contesting election contests with the goal of knows that he or she is going to win. With the hope of winning.
Who has the chances of winning?
The chances of winning, they are zero. But a lot contest because they want to usher themselves into politics. Because you and I will agree that the bigger parties are not giving room for the smaller parties. And once it's time for election, they give out the slots to the so-called non-politicians that have the fat pockets to pay. Like you see, politics in Nigeria is very expensive. It's not for like a beginner. I want to contest election as a woman with disability. And the presidential House of Reps, Senate, House of Assembly, you can imagine the money to buy a form. As a woman with disability, where do I get that kind of a money to buy? So I will have to now run to the upcoming parties, where sometimes even give the funds for free to contest election. Okay, like on the ballot paper, how many parties made it to the ballot paper? And about, I think, 18 parties made it to the ballot paper. And in the 18 parties now, which party and which party were we hearing of? So some people just, yes, I also want to go into politics. But my hope is the bigger parties to also give room for others to contest the upcoming ones.
You have to believe that if you're coming
and he was talking about he was talking about ideologies and manifesto. Do we really look at people's manifesto? And even the manifesto, those that have this manifesto, when they eventually win, do they even go with the manifesto? What they wrote in the manifesto? Do they work to actualize those things? They don't. They don't. They keep it aside and do what the so-called godfathers ask them to do. Like the issue of the woman that contested Adamawa also. Yes, Adamawa. And the lady saying, you ask the lady, she says she didn't do this, but she's a woman. I go with her too. We want women in politics. We want women to...
Many of the other contestants, for example, have better ideologies.
The issue is the better ideologies. Even if they get it, they...
Talk to him. Talk to him now.
We'll go on a short break now.
It's not very short break.
We'll go on a break now, please.
If people go with their ideologies, if people win election and are working, Nigeria won't be well with that.
Shift, I think. Should we say, okay, since everyone doesn't go with the manifesto in the event of winning an election, it's a pretty hopeless situation. Does it mean that we just have to fold our arms and say, okay?
We're not folding our arms to continue like that, because I can see it happening in this election. Some states have taken upon themselves that they are going to shift powers no matter what. And the political parties went out, did their homework well, and the results are coming out. Some few states. So it's kind of a deliberate act. if we are deliberate as citizens that, okay, enough is enough, we are tired of this. Being it you have a beautiful manifesto, you've grown in 8 years, what did you do? Okay, let's try somebody else. So it's possible that it can happen when citizens are deliberate and when political parties are deliberate to involve their citizens.
All right, Mukhtar, it's interesting that this issue of participation of women in politics has arisen. What do you think women should do? They seem to be clamoring hard to participate in politics, and their antecedents, if you like, seems to have shown that they don't even do all they can to support one another. I remember when our mother, Sarah Jibril, contested a presidential election some time back, she just got a vote, and there were a lot of women who were to cast their ballots in that primary election.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I don't want to really say that they are not doing. They are doing everything possible for them to get into power, but some few of them that are noticed are not doing that. I will tell you, it's a shame for the 9th Assembly, to reject the bill that the women push after all the advocacy and everything. I thought the 9th Assembly would have done enough thing for them to have accepted that. And the sad reality is, most of the people that sponsored this bill are not coming back. It's a sad thing. But there are other young women, vibrant ones coming into the 10th Assembly that we expect them to change. In my state, no. There is only one female legislator in the entire thing. But I tell you what, if women are allowed into politics, you and I, the way we think, our own thinking is short term. But women think ahead. I don't know if you understand. So I am of the view that more women should be brought into the political space. And women are, to some extent, they are good managers of things. But the only where I differ from her is, it cannot be only woman. If I read your manifesto, if I am to be in Adama, I'm from Adama State, if I am to be in Adama, I have to read and study the manifesto of all of them, right? All of them. If her own manifesto is something I can resonate with, why not if not? If her own manifesto is not something I can resonate with, then I will not go for it. So the reality is, I think women across should have to support each other. If women put together their vote in a particular place, Baba, all of us will have to calm down. Because, they are the ones that will largely, strongly go out and push. I know there is a situation report that we'll be expecting on women participation in the electoral cycle. Do you know that women participate massively, and we have to encourage that, to get more women in the space. So the only thing I will say is, anybody that is coming to power, from our president-elect to the governors-elect, if any results are being declared, I think they should put that caveat of adding women into their system, so that one thing will change. At least people will understand, will know that these people are thinking for us.
But I know the men will always be reluctant to do that. I remember a member of the House of Reps from Jigawa State, Nuhugudaji, some time back, rose on the floor of the House to say, if care is not taken, these women will take over.
Yeah, he's not coming back. He did not see the effect of women. Because of
recognize women.
So what can women do on their own? What deliberate efforts do you think they have to make at ensuring that they have political power?
Yeah, so for me, I think they need to do more. They need to learn more and do more, advocate more, get more people to be he for she advocates, advocating for this particular thing. I am sure, we have to believe in process, not believe in miracle. Let's keep getting these people into the system. Sadly, child protection bill, there are some states that did not sign it. just child protection bill. So, and that is what contributes, and that's what women are bringing to the table. Things like this, the child protection, the VAB, that's violence against person prohibition act, the people living with disability bill and what have you. There are people, there are states that have not signed it. It's a shame. So if we have more women into the system, they think in that kind of direction. But the field that we are, we are seeing some women from the northeast now coming. Yobe had 2 female representation, which is a thing of joy, right? Some other states from the northeast, from the northwest, and then south, and southeast are also bringing in with the
women contesting the governorship election is also an incumbent.
It's a good thing, but I think we should also need to sit down and not just look at the women as the thing, but don't look at, some people, like young people, there are other young people that see young people as the thing. If you are a young person and you're not doing well, I'll vote for someone that is 79.
All right, Mukhtar, we have to take a break now. This is Monday Studio on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We still have in the studio Mukhtar Madiba, his head of data collation and situation room, connected development, code, and Ivy Aki. She's a disability rights and inclusive advocate. We'll take a break now. We'll be back in
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Governorship and State Houses of Assembly coming to you on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We still have in the studio Mukhtar Metibu, Data Collation and Situation Room, Connected Development Code, and Avi Aki. She's a disability rights and inclusive advocate. Thank you for still being with us, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you for having
Well, let's inform you quickly that you can follow us on all our social media handles: Facebook at Radio Nigeria Network, YouTube, Radio Nigeria Network, Twitter at Radio Nigeria HQ, Instagram at Radio Nigeria _Nigeria HQ, LinkedIn, Radio Nigeria Network, and WhatsApp 0808 804 8115. That is 0808 804 8115. Follow the conversation on hashtag Radio Nigeria. Thank you for still being with us, and we continue with the conversation here. And remember, we'll be taking calls from our correspondents across the country to let us know what the situation is with regard to the governorship and state assembly elections that took place yesterday. Where some of the elections have been postponed and they're taking place at the moment. We hope to hear from them and let you know what the situation is, especially concerning collation of results. We learn collation of results is underway in some states of the Federation, and very soon we'll be telling you who have carried the day and who haven't in those states. Gentlemen and lady, Mukhtar and Ave, thank you for still being with us. Let's talk more about the election. It had been expected that the turnout of voters would be higher in yesterday's election, considering the fact that the governorship and state assembly elections are those elections that are very much closer to the people than even the presidential and national assembly elections. The governor is much closer to the citizens, so are the state assembly members. What should be done to let the people know how important those that are much closer to them are in terms of governance, Mukhtar?
So, in terms of governance, the people that are close. If you look at the numbers that are coming out from Oyo State, it will tell you that it has taken a deliberate effort by the person in power to educate his people, right? To educate people on coming out to vote and knowing that I run some part of your economy and I am dealing with your own government, right? So I think one of the things we have to do more now is to see how we cannot just be using celebration time. I know you people who are journalists know it very well. What's the celebration time of Radio Nigeria? It will be immediately after the network news, right? That time is, you call it prime time, right?
Okay, you mean when you say celebration time?
Yeah, they must attract that time.
Yeah, yes.
That's the prime time.
Yeah,
right?
certainly on network news. Yes.
Thank you. So, advocacy-wise, governance-wise, it's called celebration time.
Okay.
So, that time, let's say some weeks to election, that's when we start saying, oh, this is the closest, and if you're electing this person, he's the closest person to the people, and what have you. See, we just have to build two things: believe and trust. When we are able to put a belief, she said something that, INEC told us that all these things would happen. I bet you this, when I traveled with those guys at INEC to Kenya, the conversation we were having, do you know that while we were having the conversation, I was picturing the real thing. I mean, we're going to nail it. We have the largest democracy in Africa. We're going to make it big, man, because we're going to achieve it massively with the kind of things they're telling you. That's a personal conversation, kind of like hope that people had. I know in my own purview, I know 6 of my friends, 6, 2 from China, 3 from the UK, and 1 from the US that traveled down one traveled to Zamfara, the other one traveled to Port Harcourt, the other one traveled to Akwa Ibom to go and vote. But they left immediately after the presidential election. They were all meant to wait for governorship election and what have you. But because of that IRF mistake, all of them left. So it takes time to build hope and trust and then believe later on. And it takes small thing to discredit that whole trust and belief that people have over process. So I think what we have to do is to educate people, right? And also look at the people that are mischievous and also build trust, belief, and
Lawrence Mwokedi from Umuahia, Abia State is on the line. Lawrence Mwokedi, Umuahia, Abia State.
25th February. Even me, I had a contingency plan that the election can be moved. Simply because, there were still court cases that NURTW in Lagos will not handle. So the logistical issue, that's why you see some people coming out to say event planners should be managing INEC logistics and what.
Let's not keep our correspondent waiting for too long a time. We'll come back to the issue after we take Lawrence Mwokedi, who's calling from Umuahia, Abia State. Lawrence, good morning. Lawrence, are you there?
Good morning.
Yeah, Lawrence.
Yes.
Okay, what's happening in Abia State?
Thank you very much. Abia is cool. Everybody is doing this or her own business. Some are going to church because today is a Christian church service. But I'm at INEC headquarters in Umuahia. Now, we have the collation of results is in progress. There are security operatives that are here, the police, the DSS, civil defense and others. Everywhere is calm. People are just tripping into the INEC headquarters, especially the journalists. They are the ones being allowed to enter the collation center. The collation is in progress for the governorship election that was conducted yesterday. Then for the House of Assembly that was conducted, they are doing their own collation in another place called Ibeku High School. At the same time, security men are there to ensure safety and peace during the progress.
Has any winner been announced for the state assembly elections, Lawrence?
I cannot surely give you because I'm the INEC one, where the governorship is holding. But I believe that by now, 1, 2, or 3 of the House of Assembly results have been released.
All right, we'll try to establish contact with our correspondent to tell us whether any announcements have been made so far. But if we may take you back a little, Lawrence, take us into how the elections were held yesterday.
Okay, the election was peaceful. The election was peaceful. Only that in some areas there were, can I say, little misunderstanding between the agents of different parties trying to argue among themselves one thing or the other. But for the election, it was peaceful. People came out, but not to compare to the number that came out in the presidential. Because there was some little, I can't call it apathy, but a little difference in the number of people that came out to compare to that of the presidential election. Everything went fine. The INEC materials and the officials arrived exactly 8 o'clock. In most of the polling units I visited, by 8:30, the election commenced, the voting and the accreditation commenced, and it ended around 3 o'clock, between 2:30 and 3. Then they started sorting the results. But I now today the collation center.
Well, you said you wouldn't describe what happened yesterday as form of voter apathy, having a low number of people that came out to vote compared to the number that came out to vote on the 25th of February. Did you have cause to interact with those who did have interest in voting? Why they didn't come out to vote?
Yes, I spoke with 2 or 3 of them. They told me that why we witnessed this little apathy of things, that many of them lost confidence in credibility of the INEC conducting the election credibly. That's one of the things we see, that they believe that their vote will not count this time. As in the presidential, there were Many of them were disenfranchised. So now they are saying that of governor, it may repeat itself. That's one. Then another thing is that some of them said that INEC did not give full voter education on masses, that this time around that the governorship election will be all the errors done in the presidential will be corrected in the governorship. So there was nothing like that sensitization from the INEC side. Only that there are sensitization from National Orientation Agency of the other states and others telling people to come out.
How about vote buy-in, Lawrence? There were reports of politicians buying votes in the election of yesterday. What was the situation in Abia State?
Okay, that of vote buying, I cannot say to place or did not to place because areas I went, they did not do anything like vote buying. But what they are doing is that people are buying food, giving to people to eat. I don't know if I can regard that one as food buying. So they are buying from these ties and yes. But you can't say that is from this political party or from the other political party. They were buying something like meat pie and dashing. Instead of that, other than friends or people that are around there. But you can't say it is from this place or from this one or from this one.
Perhaps it was inducement, Lawrence, right? Perhaps it was perhaps it was inducement.
Thank you very much.
All right, Lawrence, thank you very much for talking to us. We hope to hear from you by the time the announcements are made. And
once the announcement is made,
all right, Lawrence, thank you for talking to us. All right, let me come to you now. Mukhtar, you had Lawrence.
Yes, I mean, the gig is a normal thing. He said people are being given food, and some things. And to be honest, that's voter suppression because it's clearly stated. Why will you give someone food in the polling unit? What's your because your hand is like this now, his hand is like this. So if you come with another thing, he will also. But the thing is, I think, sometimes when I was serving, there was a time when I had to just do this election thing, and then the person that was helping us with that just said,
Aliyu Muhammad Miso from Bauchi, standing by. Aliyu Muhammad Miso from Bauchi.
That's completely wrong because that's part of election malpractice.
All right, let's not keep Aliyu Muhammad, correspondent in Bauchi, waiting for too long. Aliyu Muhammad, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Robert.
All right, Aliyu, what can you tell us with regard to the elections in Bauchi State?
Well, the elections in Bauchi State was peaceful for now. And the commission of the state assembly election in Bauchi State are ongoing at local government levels in almost all 20 local government areas of Bauchi State. And the election, as I said, was conducted peacefully in almost all parts of the state. As you are aware, when the coalition of local governments are completed successfully, then they can take the results into the state coalition center. So at the time of the people are awaited for the announcement of the outcome of the election, the security of the state has been strengthened, especially in the state capital. So when you go around, you can see the city personnel was deployed in the strategic area in the capital. When you go around, you can notice that the Adia Adam Street in the metropolis, where the local government INEC office is located, was blocked to restrict the movement of people in the street with the aim to ensure a successful coalition exercise. So that's the situation for now in Bauchi State, and we are expecting that any moment from now, the local governments will start in their resources to coalition center. That's the situation for now in Bauchi State, in the state coalition with governor and South State Assembly election.
Well, Ali, I know Bauchi is one of the hot spots. People are enthusiastic. People are eager to know who their next governor is. Is the incumbent going to retain his seat, or there will be a change in the administration of Bauchi State? What are the people saying?
Well, the election was conducted, and the result is during our witness. So, honestly, you can have a different opinion from the people, where people are expressing the hope that their winner will become great in the election. So, for now, there is discussion around the people groups indicated that it was successful, and we are awaited for the outcome of the result.
Do you have a kind of situation whereby every person is claiming victory, leading in the polls?
Yeah, there is this people, of course, there is. But the most important is that when people are watching, I don't think that just the report that I received from the different areas of the state regarding the coalition, most of the local governments, I can say most of the reports that I have received, they have almost completed almost 80 to 90% of their coalition. You can have some issues that they had not more than 1 or 2 polling units, 3 or 4. So when they are waited from now to this evening, possibly they will hear the outcome of the results. Basically, we have to wait for the outcome of the election today or tomorrow, inshallah.
All right, thank you very much for talking to us, Aliyu.
Thank you.
Our correspondent Aliyu Muhammad Musa in Bauchi giving us the situation report there with regard to the election that was conducted yesterday in the state, the governorship and state assembly polls. Let me come to you now, Ave. You've heard our correspondent from Bauchi. Do you have anything to say with regard to our conversation with him? Or if I may ask you, talking about the importance of elections at the grassroots level, I initially asked Mukhtar before we started taking calls after we had returned from break, what has been done to sensitize the citizens to the importance, the tremendous weight of the importance, if you like, of concentrating on elections that are much closer to them. Talking about the governorship election, the state assembly election, the chairmanship election, and so on and so forth. They seem to be much more interested in elections that are either presidential or national assembly in nature.
I've been thinking, how about elections are merged, one election? Because you can imagine the stress people go through during elections, traveling from one place to another to go vote. And because we have different elections, the outcome of the first election now determines what will now happen in the other election. Like he stated, his friends traveled in. I know of some people that came in on that very day of elections just to come and vote. And what transpired? A lot of discouragement. So how about, it's all about ballot paper. We have presidential, senate, reps, house of, how about we have that a day so that all the stress people are going through is just to go vote here, and we'll get done with it. Okay, coming about sensitizing people about the governorship election, House of Assembly chairman election. That is very, very important. People have to take that specific election very serious. And it is also the duty of the contestants now not to just only come out during election period and sell themselves, but when you are elected in office, work for your constituency. To me, I take it that politics is very simple, but just that the black man, especially in Nigeria, don't want to just do politics the way it's supposed to. I am elected to serve a particular constituency. and monies are being allocated to do this. How about you use these monies? I know that there are housing allowances, there are clothing, family, travel. Keep that to yourself. It's meant for you, but that very money meant for your constituency. Each year, you can think about 2 projects to do that will impact these people. I come from where our mothers are suffering. They work a lot in the farms, and they can't take their farm produce to the nearest market because there is no road network. How about I'm elected to this particular constituency, and in my first year, 2 years, I said, okay, I'm going to work on road network projects. These are things that will capture the minds of your people, your constituency. So by the time you do this, in the next 4 years, your constituency people will see that 4 years is not enough. Let her come back and finish what she started. You come back the next year and you do other projects affecting these people directly. I bet you 8 years is not enough. These people will want you to come back more. So the elected members, how about they sit back and draw a table? We have what is called, in CSO, we have what is called vision board. You have, most CSOs have mission and vision, and they work towards achieving their visions and missions. So how about the elected members to have a vision board? Not just them sitting and having this vision board. Go back to your constituency. What do you want? They draw out this vision board. Maybe 20 things. Out of these 20 things, we ask them again, out of these 20, what is most priority? Maybe they take out 5 to the next board. From these 5, they take out 2. Start from those 2, and you get the mind of the people.
All right, I'll come back to you, Ade. Mukhtar, the reports we have got from different parts of the country suggests low turnout of voters. And you heard me ask some of our correspondents if they had interaction with those who didn't have interest in voting. And if they said yes, I asked them why. What did they say was responsible? And they talked about loss in confidence, loss of confidence in the electoral process. Is the electoral process so bad that people could so much lose confidence in it as not to come out to participate in elections, having come out en masse to vote during the presidential election?
Yeah, to be honest with you, there are 3 things. There's belief, there's trust, and there's hope. People had hope, but it's not just the electoral process that happened to us. Social media, in one way or the other, people that are putting up information that are not verified, people that are putting misinformation, fake news, disinformation are among the people that created the voter apathy that we're seeing in this election. Now, someone may take a video of last election and put it out there, making it look like it's this election, right? And then insecurity, violence has also been something that caused a lot of harm. I tell you what, in my grandparent house, there was just close to the house. That's where my mom voted. I just said, let me not be something else to tell my mom, don't go and vote, so that nothing will happen. But along the way, she has the mind of her own. The woman went to say, hey, nothing will stop me from voting my candidate, and she went to vote. So a lot of people are thinking of insecurity. A lot of people do not trust the system anymore because of the lapses the system had. And then belief in the system. People don't believe in the system, and people don't have hope that their votes can be counted. But I always tell people when I got the chance to talk is the fact that if your votes don't count, do you think politicians will use their money to buy vote? That's to tell you votes count. And
politicians move from one part of the
state with money. I mean, look at the amount of people that the EFCC arrests. Look at what the fantastic job that the men of immigration is doing in Kano. I think they now become desires, like everybody is hailing them. If you look at the reports we keep getting, people are hailing them because of the job they have been doing. So the thing is, it's all boiled down to that hope, that trust, and that belief. People need to believe in the system for the system to work, right? But all I can tell people for getting this opportunity is to say your votes count, and that's why politicians buy the votes, So all you need to do is forget about playing ball or not trusting the system. It's another thing to tell people something, or it's another thing to allow people to know something. It's another thing for them to comprehend. They're going to comprehend it differently, they're going to perceive it differently, and they're going to act upon it differently, right? But if you inform them this particular thing, they will also have their own way of pushing those things. So what I would always say is, let's keep talking about telling people that their vote counts. Let's keep telling people come out and vote, and we keep seeing the increase in the number. It's not about the just concluded 25th of February election. In that polling unit, in that election too, they are part of the country that did not really come out to vote. If you look at what happened in Abuja, ideally, me and you, all of us live in Abuja. Do you vote in Abuja? No. If you vote in Abuja, you could see what happened during the last polling unit. I was ashamed to say I'm from Gwaempa. I live in Gwaempa. There is a polling unit that went, nobody came out. So I was interested in. Yeah. So, and that's the distance. And if you sit here and ask a number of people whether or not if they know their councillors, a lot will tell you they don't know, or their local government chairman. A lot will tell you they don't know. Because, people think they are not relevant. I think we need to believe in the system, we need to trust the system, and we need to have hope for the system. I had a chance of conversing with a lady in Adabi local government of Ukeni, and she said she's a first-time voter. And then we were attached with some AIT personnel, and then the guy asked her, what do you think of the election? She now said, it can be better. So when they finished, I had to just wonder, how are you fine? Why do you think it can be better? This is your first time of voting. What do you know, man? She said, I feel it can be better. So sometimes we just have to... She may have been following elections over the years. It's possible. But sometimes we just have to shy away from that negative thoughts and also bring together the positive... there are analysts that are of the opinion